Most people aren't even taking in the holiday. They're just trying to find the right place for the right picture so that they can show people back home that they're having the best holiday of the summer. My holiday beats yours.
When you were talking about Metallica concert, like everyone was with their phone.
Yeah.
No one was actually enjoying the music.
And young men especially are really, really isolated and lonely because there's been a lot of societal factors over the last 20 years where we're focusing on important things like equality and women and all that, and all brilliant stuff. But in the mix of all that, we neglected boys, young men. They lost their sort of, internal compass. So now you've got an epidemic of young men being very, very lonely. And
Something strange is happening lately. We have more technology, we have more social media, we have everything. We have the internet in our hands, but we're more lonely than before.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? Why do you think we are lonelier than before? Do you think we are lonelier than before, or we just more loud now? We can say we are lonely.
Okay. Well, there's lots going on. Okay. Well, first of all, we are the first people to be involved in a social experiment as large as social media. So it's been petering in for a while. And I mean, I'm in my 40s, like and certainly in the last 10 years, I've seen it completely go off the rails. So it started out with things like Instagram and Facebook being something you might look at 3 or 4 times a day. Nothing too interesting, just maybe a few pictures on Instagram going, oh, did you see so and so's on holidays and whatever. And it was social because you'd talk about it. You'd be like, oh, did you see your man on Instagram? And oh, Jesus, I saw so and so's birthday on Facebook. So it was pretty social at that stage. It was a heavy, like a decent mix of real and augmented reality. And now it's just completely online. Everybody just exists online. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can't put your phone down all the time. And it's become something that people might use for 4 or 5 hours of the day, and then the rest of the day they're sitting on a screen as well in work. So you're focused completely on a flat thing all day long. So look, does that have anything to do with being lonely? I would say it absolutely does. Yeah, because something weird happens to the brain then, in the sense that if you don't have that daily connection with a human being, and you don't give that quality time to your family and your friends, and you're spending it online, there's an imbalance there. Because we only have so many hours in the day, and the more we eat away at those hours with things that are solo, because social media is far from social, it's solo media. Because you're just sitting there staring at something all day long, and then you might start getting angry about something, and you're in this in your head, and you're having this little argument in your head with this fictional thing that you see online. It's absolutely bonkers when you step back from it. So that's going to have a detrimental effect for sure, because then you lose the ability to function in a way that you can fill time with something a little bit more helpful. So instead of spending 5 hours on social media, you may have gone for a walk. You may have chatted with your local neighbours that you may have bumped into in the park. You may have gone down to the supermarket and bumped into a family member or something you haven't seen in a while and have a good chat about that. You may indeed pick up the phone and have a phone call. Do you remember them? When you used to call your friend and actually have a chat about their week or their day. I have friends now living all over the world, and we communicate simply through social media, just words in WhatsApp, just texts in WhatsApp. So it's definitely contributing to loneliness, because when you put that phone down, that's your like everything that your entire social life is built around is in that little machine, and you put it down for the night, and then you're on your own. And we need relationships. We need real face-to-face relationships. We need real chats with people. We need real connections. And so I think we're planning far too much time into our phones that could be better spent elsewhere, cultivating really good relationships. And you see it always with things like divorce and families breaking up and relationships breaking up. They'll blame all sorts of factors, but they won't take into account the fact that both of those people are probably staring at a screen half the day, and that's not going to be good for your relationship in any way, shape, or form.
Eh,
And also, by the way, just as an aside, like when you're on holidays and everything, most people aren't even taking in the holiday. They're just trying to find the right place for the right picture so that they can show people back home that they're having the best holiday of the summer. My holiday beats yours, and it's absolutely bonkers. There's nobody being present right now. And if you're not present, you're no use to the people around you. So the people around you are going to go off and do their own thing, and then you're going to be lonely.
I just remembered when you were talking about Metallica concert, like everyone was with their phone.
Yeah.
No one was actually enjoying the music.
Yeah.
So how, like, I did the same, but like you do it and then you to watch it. Like you don't enjoy the moment,
No.
but then you're gonna come and you can still watch it if you want to.
Yeah, but
it's
I
in
mean,
the television. You know what I mean?
I could go on YouTube tomorrow and look at a Metallica concert on YouTube that I didn't go to, and it's the exact same experience as looking at your stupid videos that you took of a Metallica concert that
Yes.
you actually went to. So speaking about loneliness in particular, I would often go to gigs and concerts. My favorite thing to do, and my friends are all musicians, so we love to hang out. It's pretty much the only time we see each other now. So when we do go to these gigs and we're just standing there with our phones in the air and just staring at the phone, it's
If you
kind of
can
weird.
film it or not.
No, but you know what I mean? Just think
Yes.
about it for a second.
Yeah.
So you go to this place with your friends that you haven't seen in a while to see a band that you all love, and then you all whip out your phones and you start recording it for no good reason, that you may go home and watch it, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're actually there, and you're actually with your friends. So before all that crap started, you'd be standing there with your friends watching this band, and you'd be nudging each other and talking and saying, I love this song, this is brilliant, this is really good crack, I'm going to get a beer, do you want a beer? Oh my god, the stage is amazing, the lights are great. You're talking about stuff and you're like, oh, do you remember so-and-so used to love this band? Do you think he's here tonight? Keep an eye out for him, you might see him. That's the stuff that you're supposed to do at a concert, but not anymore. People are just standing there with their phone like that, like zombies. So like you can't expect to not be lonely if you don't actually put the effort into the opportunities when you have the time to spend time with your friends, and then all of a sudden you're lonely and you wonder why. Well, it's because you're not watering the garden.
Yeah. I watched one concert on the television, Metallica in Moscow. Like the people are dancing, enjoying,
Well,
like screaming, like it's crazy.
in Moscow, yeah, that was amazing. Back in the
Amazing, but
90s.
there is no like if I'm James Hetfield, like there is a difference now. For example, if he does the concert now, the people are going to be like that. So
Yeah.
what he sees, like then
Yeah.
he saw something else.
Yeah.
Now he sees
Look.
something else because he has been like
Yeah, no, a
Very
lot
long.
of bands have a problem with it, and a lot of bands have banned phones at gigs. Tool, the famous American
Really?
metal band, yeah, they've I think they're American. Yeah, they're American. Okay, it might be Canadian. I'm not sure. Anyway, don't correct me. Don't like Tool. I'm not a fan of them. My friends love them. They're amazing. I respect them. But anyway, I don't want to get in trouble with the Tool fans. What I'm saying is that they have a strict policy now where you be asked to leave if you bring out your phone. Loads of musicians are doing it, and it goes back to exactly what we're talking about: is loneliness. The whole point of going to see a band is that it's a communal experience. So the footage from Moscow of Metallica playing, everybody was focused on Metallica and they were all having a great time with their friends. Okay, now they're all segmented. They might as well be on their own in virtual reality because they're not communicating, they're not talking, they're filming the bloody thing on their phone. And I think bands are right to start to crack down on that and ask, and sometimes they're polite about it. They'll say, would you please just look, you can take a video after, but can you just enjoy this song and we can all enjoy it together, because going to a gig is the most communal thing you could possibly do. So if we start to slash things like that out of our society, like actually being in a place with other people but may as well be on your own, well then you're just going to increase loneliness, you're going to increase isolation, and you're going to lose social skills that will help you form relationships that will keep you enriched going into your life. That's what I think.
very good.
There you are.
What
now.
about the dating apps? They have to help you more to date people. No,
Yeah.
they need to actually be supporting you to
Yeah, well, it's
talk with people.
yeah. Look, it's like anything. You know, nuclear energy is great if it heats your home, but it's also really bad if you build a bomb with it. So, like the dating apps, my take on them is it's just another tool that allows you to go out and meet people. And I have no problem with that. If it's like I was saying to you earlier on about how social media started. It started as a sort of communal thing where you talk about what you saw on social media. It wasn't siloed as much as it is nowadays, where everybody's got a personality online and they stick to that on their own and blinkers on or whatever. So dating apps are brilliant if you're, like if you're not going out drinking and you're not going to parties, you don't have a huge social life, it's a great way to meet other people. But when you actually meet them, you have to be able to talk, and you have to be able to actually have, a reasonable connection with another human being. So it's a mixed bag. Use it to get there, but it shouldn't take over your whole life. And like I see it now with people, everyone's replaceable. It's like, oh, this girl wants to meet me for a coffee, and this one wants to go for a drink, and I might do her Tuesday, and then I'll meet her Thursday, and then I'll do this on Sunday. And you have too much choice. So then what you do is you spread yourself too thin, and you don't take anyone seriously, and you end up on your own in the end anyway. So, because everyone's replaceable if they're just a face
It's
on an
very
app.
easy now, no? For
It's too
example,
easy.
even if it's something you go on a date and then you don't like something small, I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something small, okay, I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Well, look, I hear that all the time. It's like, oh, I just can't meet anyone. Yeah, you can meet someone, but you need to compromise because nobody comes vacuum packed perfection, right? It doesn't exist. We're all flawed. We're all weird. We all have our hang ups and our, incompatibilities with people. So I think expectations have to be reasonable. And, but I say this, it's back to the loneliness thing. You can use this app to meet someone, but then you gotta be able to speak. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to cultivate a relationship and respect people and do all those things. Otherwise, you will just be lonely on your own. You know.
Do you think it's an age thing? Like, do you think you become more lonelier
Look,
after 30,
yeah.
40? Because I feel like young people are not like that, at least when I was young.
Listen, Susie. There's married people who are lonely. There's
Yes.
people who are surrounded by huge families and they're lonely. It's not just social. It's not social media. It's not that. It's part of it. There's a million reasons why somebody would be lonely. They may have, insecurities that have never been taken care of, traumas that have never been properly looked at. And they could be from the outside living in a perfectly normal, functional relationship with 3 happy kids, the house, the car, the whole shebang. But at the end of the day, they come home from work and they sit in the car and they just stare into the distance because they don't feel like they can share things with their wife or their husband or their children or their friends. They're feeling isolated because now we live in a modern world where everybody's so bloody busy. Getting someone out for a pint now is it's
You
a
can't
3-month
organize.
plan.
You
No,
can't organize
you
it.
need to give someone 3 months heads up because we all live these weird lives now where we're streaming content all day. We're spending hours that we used to use in other ways on our phones. We're working to pay the high bills that are coming down the track, and you just don't have the time. So as a result,
You don't prioritize.
no, your friends wither on the vine because and everybody's at it. Nobody's spending the time that they need to with each other, and that's really, really sad. And young men especially are really, really isolated and lonely because there's been a lot of societal factors over the last 20 years where essentially men have been sort of relegated a little bit because people were focusing on important things like equality and women and all that and all brilliant stuff, but in the mix of all that we neglected boys, young men. They lost their sort of internal compass. So now you've got an epidemic of young men being very, very lonely, and I wouldn't want to be in my 20s as a guy. It's intimidating out there with all these apps and just the way the culture is just like, oh, you're a young guy, you're just obviously trouble. Like it's not giving anyone a shot or a chance. We're seeing young men trailing off in school, in university, getting less degrees, feeling less. What's the point? Oh, what's the point in starting a family where, I can never buy a house. I can never do this. I can never do that. It happens to girls too, but I think women are a bit more adaptive and a little bit more, should I say, intelligent about, finding ways around issues. Whereas men are just like, look, I'm supposed to go to college, get a job, buy a house and provide for my family. That's just my function, okay? And they're looking at that and they're like, well, that's not going to happen. I can't do that. The government won't let me do this. And I don't think this is a viable future. So you just end up being really, really lonely. And you get stuck into your games and, isolated pursuits.
Yeah, escape, like kind of escape.
Yeah. Well, I think, women can be lonely for sure. There's an awful lot of loneliness amongst women. And I'm not speaking on behalf of women. I'm just saying from my own insight and perspective. Women are just better at relationships. They're better at talking. They're better at ringing up their girlfriends and giving out. You're always on the phone giving out about me to your girlfriends, but she does it in Bulgarian, so I don't know what she's saying.
It's so
Oh,
good.
I know.
It's so good to not talk the same language.
Yeah, she gets away with murder.
To gossip.
Yeah. So
Really?
women have better tools to deal with that. than young men. But then also, I mean, the one that breaks my heart, and it's always been close to my heart, is, you know, the older generation. I've seen in my lifetime a total breakdown in respect for the older generation, almost resentment in a lot of ways. And part of the reason, I think, being there's a bit of resentment in the sense that that generation could do all the things that this generation can't. Like, it was conceivable to buy your own home. It was conceivable to go on a holiday twice a year. It was conceivable to have a family. All these things could be done on one wage if you had to. There was no stressing about creches and bills and school fees and all these things. So I think there's a bit of resentment there. But listen, it doesn't matter, because we wouldn't be here without them. And they have incredible wisdom and incredible insight, and they are relationships that need to be cultivated in your community. Because if we don't learn from that generation, we'll know nothing. Do you know what I mean?
That generation, like, it doesn't understand us as well. Maybe sometimes I feel like they expect more. Like, we did more things from your age, and you couldn't do anything.
They're
You know
putting
what I mean?
expectations on us that were put on them. But what they're failing to remember is that the situation was different when those expectations were put on them. They were reasonable expectations. They're just putting the same expectations. You know, they're thinking, well, I did it, so why can't you? Because I don't think they realised how completely impossible it is to achieve all those things that they achieved. It was always hard. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm saying, but they could do it. Now you say to
Impossible.
you say to a young couple who are 23 years old, oh, this house is going to cost you €750,000 and your mortgage is going to be for the next 50 years. That's not a good deal, you know? So there's that. But no, I think old people, you know, exclusively, you have to think about them in your community, because they're really important. They're wise. They can help for the most part. They can give you good advice. Whatever you think you're going through, someone else has gone through it 20 times more. So, and you've also got to remember that people around them, they're losing people all the time. You know, those relationships that meant the world to them, their friends, sometimes their partner, are dying. And they have to grieve all of that and still get on with their life. So I would say to anyone, you know, if an old person starts talking to you down in the, you know, outside a coffee shop or something, give them the time, you know, because you might be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, look, we all have to look out for each other. You know, regardless of generation or age, we have to look out for each other. It's the whole purpose of humanity.
What about AI in the future?
That's terrifying. I don't know, but we already have, you know, people who are, you know, essentially in a relationship with their AI, and
Yeah, you said that you're gonna change me with Margot Robbie, no?
No, don't be silly. No, not until they make the robots. Joking. I would never swap you with Margot Robbie. I would never. No. Sydney Sweeney. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
James Hetfield.
Yeah, you can have James Hetfield.
Brad Pitt, I thought about it.
That's gonna be weird. We're gonna have a James Hetfield robot and a Margot Robbie robot. It's gonna be a fun, weird, but fun.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Jesus. But yeah, no. Look, all the things that make a relationship are not going to be found in AI. There's no connection. There's no eye contact. There's no smell. There's no touch. There's no comfort. It's just somebody, you know, confirming your bias for the most part. And like this, you know, there's people out there who like are, you know, they're breaking up with their AI. It's just, look, it's sad that look. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at them. I'm just, look, if you're at a point in your life where, you know, you think you're in love with your AI, yeah, step back. Just take a little step back, because nothing can replace human interaction and human growth. Because that's how you know, that's what comes out of being in a relationship is growth and, you know, comfort and pleasure and all these things. You can't get that with AI.
Human connection.
No, you're just a robot talking to you. You know, telling you what you want to hear. It's not the dream.
Okay. So
I think it'll make people more lonely. For sure. If everybody's talking to their computers all day, that's even worse than social media. I am scared. I'm genuinely scared for the future. But I do believe that humans will always come back to humans.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be rare. It's going to be something rare, special.
Yeah.
You know?
Who knows where it's going to go. But loneliness is crippling. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I've been lonely. I've grieved. I've lost loved ones, and I felt like nobody understood my pain or what I was going through. But I also, at the same time, understood that what I was going through wasn't unique. And I think everybody needs to remember that. They think they're the only person going through that ever went through that. It's the worst thing that ever happened. Nobody else has to deal with this. I'm the only person ever that's gone through this. That's not true. Everything's been done. Everything's been
Yeah,
done.
but sometimes you can't handle the thing. Some people are more stronger than other people.
I'm not. No, I'm not saying that they just handle it. I'm not saying suck it up. I'm just saying that when you're going through something, it's really important and really helpful to go, this is horrible. Like, I mean, I'm not minimizing it at all. I've been there. Like, I've been at the lowest that you could possibly get. But there was always a voice in my head saying, it's not just you. Somebody else has gone through this and somebody else has gotten to the other end of it, you know? And it always, the answer is pretty much always other people, not AI, you know, not more social media, not more Tinder. It's people. That's what you need more. When you're going through hell, you need people around you to get you out of it.
What's worse, to be in a relationship to feel lonely, or to be lonely because you don't have anyone
Oh,
next to
it's
you?
much better just to be lonely than being in a loveless, lonely relationship. That's worse. That's really worse, because you know you're doubling the impact. You know, because you're both unhappy and you're both making your life more difficult. And if you can't share things with your partner, then there's probably no point in being with that person, because the only way you can get through life is relying on each other. And if you're blessed enough to have a good relationship and somebody you can trust and somebody you can talk to, then use it, you know, and cultivate it and be mindful of it. And like I said earlier on about having that voice in your head saying you're not the only one to go through this, also have a voice in your head that says, oh, by the way, I need to do a little extra for her today or for him today, for to make this a better life for both of us.
I have another thing. When I feel down, I say, or lonely, I say, nothing is permanent.
No,
Like, nothing is permanent.
yeah, that's what my mother used to say. A very
Like-
famous saying, this too shall pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're unhappy, it's gonna pass. Which is amazing news. You're happy, it's gonna pass. That's mean you enjoy. Be more present when you're happy,
Brighter
because
days
it's gonna
are-
pass.
Brighter days are out there. And you know, if you're lonely and if you're watching this, you know, it's not the end of the world. You will meet people. You know, just step out of the house. I know it's easy for me to say that. You know, people are in really bad places. But the only way you're going to get through this is by reaching out to people. And people will surprise you. You know, people are very kind and very, very considerate when you ask them. You know, when you reach out, there's always someone who'll reach out back to you. So yeah, do that. But loneliness is just something, it's part of the human condition, and you can solve it, which is the good news. The bad news is everybody goes through it, but the good news is it can be solved. So there you go. Aw, so deep, so deep.
Thank you very much
Thanks, guys.
for staying until the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us know in the comments what you think about what we were talking about. And yeah, like, I mean, if you want to just chat to us and you're feeling a bit lonely yourself, just no problem. You just put us a comment. We'll talk right back to you.
Yes.
How's that?
I will reply to all the comments. I always do.
Yeah. And also, anyone, I'd highly recommend getting a dog. You're never lonely with a dog.
She's my best friend.
Lily got.
She is just my best friend. She's my bestie. Like,
I
I
was-
talk to her.
I was living-
We have
Oh,
fun
yeah.
together. Like, we do everything
She's our
together.
little baby. But I was living on my own through COVID, and it was just me and Lily, and she was brilliant. She was great company. You can't be lonely with a beautiful dog beside you.
No. You can't be unhappy with a beautiful dog. as
Oh,
well.
they're brilliant. Get a dog.
Big face, big smile.
Wee pet. Right, guys. Thanks a million.
See you next time.